there's an interesting thing. So we have this webinar tonight. So are you a dangerous man or are you mommy's boy? And as a dangerous man, you just own up to your power. That doesn't mean that you're violent, but you are in full access of your power. That makes you dangerous from a perspective of you can protect other people or your partner or whatever needs to happen. So you can be dangerous and you own up to your danger. And that means this is part of this masculine or this manhood that we have lost somehow.
Yeah.
It's like we just chop our balls to just like being the nice boy and just like pretending being, nice and pleasing around and being liked and stuff like that. And then there comes this friend question in there. Are you a man and own up to your balls and to your power, to your strength, to your, whatever you come with? Or you want to be a friend? No? And specifically for women, if they say, no, I just want you to be my friend to a man, just like, so go and fucking get a dog that can become your friend. I don't want to be your friend. I'm a man.
So when you're a man, like, and you own up to yourself and you have the balls, that is when it sounds like you don't need to put words on it. Like either you are what you are or you're not. Like you can be intimate, you can be friends, you can be happy. You can, if she finds another one, okay. Is that what you mean?
Well, there's a specific dynamic in there, and based on the structure of the engagement systems I'm working with, as I'm just unapologetic me. Yeah, that
sounds so radical. It sounds so egoistic. It sounds like you're fucking people up.
Yeah, but unapologetic me means that I'm me in the first place. It's what includes in this case self-love and self-care. I'm me from a place of authentic self-realization. Yeah. That doesn't mean, and I explained that on one point, there are the 3 steps of masculinity, of manhood, where the first step is you're just a jerk, a narcissistic ego in a way. And this is not what I'm talking about. It's this place of, I have empathy and compassion. I can relate, I can talk, I can feel into and be with somebody emotionally and hold that space in the way. But on the 3rd level, it's similar to the first level of this masculinity. It's just I own my masculinity, and that means for me as a man, if I just want to go as a woman onto that place where she really desires to go, on that place of surrender, and just like, okay, just have me and get me to the place where I can't get myself, or where I don't want to own up that I actually want to go, but I don't want to go with the jerks. And that means I have to own and claim my power. I have to claim my balls, but I'm coming from a place of love and care. That means if I'm feeling something is off here, I don't press, I don't push, I don't force, but I'm still in my energy, in my power.
Yeah, you don't need to manipulate.
I don't need to manipulate.
In your power.
Yeah,
when
right.
You're true.
So I just hold that point of it's a place of isness that is unapologetic in a way. I don't apologize for being me, because if people around me feel just like, well, I can't manipulate you. You are dangerous. I can't put you in my pocket and do to you whatever I want. That I'm feeling safe around you. Just like, then sorry, then fuck off. If you have a specific need in my environment and you need me to be different, then you need to do the work, because it's not up to you to change me that I have to be a different person. But if you have a request, if you want me to do something for you or do something different, you can always request anything. Yeah. And I'm totally considerable to evaluate my behavior if it resonates with me.
So how does one commit if you are in that state, the man? What is commitment in that case? Like if you are unapologetically you, and of course not egoistic, narcissistic, But if you have a partner and you need to commit, what kind of commitment? How does that commitment look like? There are many ways, of course, but can you give an example how a commitment can be?
As I said that before, so it's a commitment to value that I carry. And the value that I carry specifically when it comes to sexual intercourse is that I don't fuck around. Yeah, so also my value is before I have sex with somebody else as a spiritual path. And there comes this call it the tantric path or the semen retention path, where I actually cultivate my sexual energy in a way that it's not about reproductive behavior. It's about I use my sexuality for, transformation and for my health and for, fun and play in a way. And part of that value is I don't fuck around. And that is a commitment that I'm having to myself. But I don't want to chop my balls that my partner doesn't feel jealous or doesn't feel being too little or too less of something in her own comparison way. Kind of just like my hair are not long enough, I'm not blonde, my boobs too small, my ass too big, all that stuff. So that when she's comparing herself to somebody else, and then want me to tell her that she is more pretty than somebody else. And just like I told her, sorry, I don't play the games, you're pretty as you are. I don't need to compare you with somebody else. But in this regard, when I'm in connection with my own energy, that I allow myself to be unapologetic me in presence with other women, with other people. That means that I own up to my relationship in the moment that I'm having with the person I'm with. And that doesn't mean when I'm talking to another person that I have to operate the way how I should operate when I'm committed to my partner in a way. That's not somebody else's business, that's my business. And the business was the person I am with in the moment. So this is what the relating dynamics are. So who are we when we engage and what are we talking about and where are we going in this conversation? And this value, this commitment is that I am open sexually in the relationship. That means if somebody else would come in, as I explained that before, I have a conversation with my partner, say, hey, I've met somebody I would like to have a deeper experience with, and I want you to meet that person. Yeah. And I don't know if there will be sex or there will not be sex. There might be play. But before I have sex, I just want to get to know that person for about 3 months, that I can actually really make that decision if I want that and see how our relationship goes in this behalf.
Cool.
And that's the value.
Okay.
And that's a commitment to myself. And I'm not committed in that value to my partner. I'm committed to that value in myself.
Yeah, you're living by yourself, from yourself, for yourself. So the old kinds of structures and concepts seems to fade away in that case. Like, are we together or are we friends? Or are we friends with benefits? Those are like the most used, concepts
it sounds so
life.
Interesting. I never had that. What is friends with benefits?
It's like you're friends, but sometimes you fuck. And you are open, so if your friend starts dating someone you stop fucking, then they're starting to commit in a deeper way. So those are like the old school traditional ways. But when you talk, it feels like they kind of disappear because you meet each other in another way. Like you relate with your own kind of values and how you actually want to relate, and it's up to you to decide. So you don't ask like, are we together now? Like, yes, okay, in that case, it's you and me. If we're not, if this goes south, we're friends. What is friends? Then you don't, what happens, you were like lovers together yesterday, intimate hearts in SMSs, and you cared for each other. The next day, of course, you can get heartbroken, which affects how you communicate. But then all of a sudden, you don't care for each other as much. You're friends. I can't see how it can turn so quickly, So there must be something there that is more, like feels more natural. It feels like this relating part is, I don't know what you call it, but in that case, you still care for each other. You can send heart emojis, and you can be friends, and you can also maybe make love sometimes. I don't know how it works.
I explained to you the shopping zone, right?
No.
The shopping zone is, there are the 7 layers of relating. And first layer I explained, it's the relationship in our, mommy's belly, infinite cosmos. The second layer of relating is when we're born, the home environment, mommy, daddy, siblings, dog, auntie, the home relationship that we're just born into. The third relationship is the shopping zone.
Oh, now I remember.
Yeah,
yes.
So we're getting out of the house, and then we're just like in school, we're just dating around, Tinder apps, trying to find different things. And then on one point we just recognize, well, that kind of doesn't really work.
And it came from watching your parents as you were young,
right?
They behaved.
Right.
Go through that. That was super interesting.
So you actually learn in the second relationship in your home thing what mommy and daddy do. That's how you inherit relationship dynamics, And most of the time, like I said that before, this is what my parents did, and I try to do the opposite or do the same thing. And this is what everybody does because that's what you learn. But in between, you go in the shopping zone, and the shopping zone is just like, fucking around, and then who is doing with whom, and then just like you just sniff here, and then you just do stuff like that. You have no concepts. It's just like you just go around. Pick this and pick that, and then you notice this is too shallow. It doesn't guide me anywhere. It's just like, why am I doing that? And then from the third step, it goes into the fourth step. And the fourth step is that we then repeating what we have done in the home environment.
Okay.
And this is either attachments, kind of ownership, you're mine and I'm yours, or the commitment, or.
But if you had parents that didn't even stick together, they were like, daddy or mommy was out. Usually daddy. But someone was out, and you don't have anything to use in the pillar 4.
Well, this is what you do. Either you are stuck in the shopping zone, or you kind of develop something that
your own
imagination, how it could be based on that what you have experienced in your in your home. It's just like a black empty box that you never have seen, and then you just try to figure something out that what it could have been without that anything works in a way. Probably still the shopping zone or attachment styles. And on one point, people recognize, okay, I probably need to go, and this is where the 5th step comes in, I probably need to go on celibacy or solitude, or just need to be on my own for a while, or just need to do different, or need to establish the value, the way how I want to relate. And coming to that point, you establish the value, how you want to relate, and you just engage with another person, and you just figure out, so what are your value of relationship? How do you think, and how do you want that? Yeah, and then you hear people, the way how they talk, and immediately just like, yes or no.
And is it the most time action? So you need to be with them for a while, because talk is talk,
yes.
Walk is walk. So sometimes talk is different from the walk.
Yes, you need to talk your walk and walk your talk, and this is where the fifth step, the value, and this is the way how I actually love to see that, is comes through the experience. When you have done your fair share of fucking around and trying different relationship styles, and you just recognize that doesn't work, that might, that not, then you just go on different levels. And this is a level where I say, if you want to establish the value that is impeccable in yourself, where you go into your ownership, radical self-responsibility, where you actually show up for yourself with your values, this value comes from this 3-minute game. And you play the 3-minute game, because in the 3-minute game, you have to recognize just like, okay, it's my action for myself, it's your action for yourself, it's my action for you, or your action for me. And you play that with each other in a freeing way, and then you debrief and do different experience with the same person, with other people, and you learn something about yourself that you can't learn in any other way. And this is where you develop that value.
So you need kind of a partner to do that, or what?
Well, it can be a friend, it can be a family member, it can be anybody, you know, it can be your siblings or anybody you would like to play that with, or somebody you date and say, just like, okay, I don't want to do this typical dating thing, I'm not interested, I'm not looking for a mate, I'm not looking for anything else, I just want to play this 3-minute game.
Yeah.
For, you know, it takes us an hour or two, we will talk and laugh a lot, it feels awkward and shit, but it feels as well horny and nice. For 3 minutes you do what you want within my limits. For 3 minutes I do what I want within your limits. For 3 minutes I do what you want within my limits, and for 3 minutes you do what I want within your limits. And play it, just do it.
How often did you say you played?
Well, I've played it a few hundred times probably.
But if you would give me the advice to start with it, is it once a week, every day?
Plays once a week.
Once a week?
Once a week is cool.
For how long do you reckon? Like, would make some kind of clicking?
Well, the clicking happens, you know, it comes from Harry Fedis, this 12-step coach, and he's not a 12-step coach, but he has a 12-step background and he's a coach. And
yeah, we get it.
Anyway, so because there's a distinction, and that makes all the difference, and we talked about the inflow, the sensory inflow when you are in action for yourself. Can you be in connection with yourself, or are you getting lost in the other person's response? So this is the essence. And if you can connect with yourself for 3 minutes and you go in touching your partner for 3 minutes without losing yourself in her response, then you're on the right track.
Cool.
So if you're getting lost in somebody else's response and then just like, oh, am I doing the right thing? Is it actually working what I'm doing? Then you just go down the drain into the pleaser shadows.
Talking about pleasing.
1 second.
Yeah,
this is so cool, but I just want to go 3 steps back about this friends with benefits.
Yeah.
And
you like that idea?
Well, no. And because
we call it knullkompis.
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 Yeah.
I like that. The thing is that it never works because it's a shopping zone. It's good to figure out kind of just feeding some empty gaps.
It's kind of exploration.
It's kind of
exploration. You can get stuck there.
It's a shopping zone. The shopping zone is great. Everybody loves to go into the mall and just like shop around a little bit, but it doesn't give you the essence of it. You know, you just want to go in nature and merge and melt. This is where the essence is. And I have broken it down. I put it in the book. The distinction between brother and sister and lover. And some people were just like, whoa, brother and sister, that's like incest, and just like, you know, just my parents, for example, just like I put them into the God realm when I was little. And then I recognized they are just not God and goddess, they're just normal people. Yeah. And they just did the best and they fucked it up. And the same did I as a parent. I just fucked it up. And I'm just a normal dude, a normal guy. And my children need to understand that I'm not God and goddess, but I will not become their friend either. You know, they're still my children, but at one point they are not children anymore. And what's the relationship that I developed with my parents is, you know, my dad became not my friend. It was more like he was my brother in a way. And my mother, I could see her, she's more like a sister. She's just another woman. And I would not cross the line from brother-sister into lover. And, you know, when I play around with people in sessions, or on festivals, or in workshops as a facilitator or whatever, we are all brothers and sisters. It's just like we're a big brother-sister group. You know, there is no mother-father here, because I'm not anybody else's father, even they project a ton, but we have all the same father. This is the divine, the masculine principle, and we are all the same mother. What's the earth and the you know, life force, energy in a way. So let's celebrate our parents in a way, and that makes all human beings brothers and sisters.
If you look at it biologically, we are brothers and sisters too.
In a way, we're all brothers and sisters. Yeah. So let's see it from that perspective. They're all brothers and sisters, but, you know, as sexual intercourse has a sacred component in my world, in my reality, because it can create life, it can create offspring. And if you're not really conscious in this tantric way, you know how semen retention works and energy management and all that kind of stuff, and then you just jump into, you know, the lover realm, and then you're just making children because this is how we are conditioned. You know, just like making more of us, that we have enough soldiers and taxpayers and sheeps for the church, all this bullshit. But from that perspective, if you jump into the lover realm with another woman, then you leave the brother-sister dynamic. You just become lovers. You know, and in ancient traditions, the idea of the honeymoon was just like, no, you don't go to Turkey, to Pamukkale, and just spend 2 weeks after you're married. No, it's just like, no, if you want to become a lover with somebody else, you travel a distance where you find a wiser, older people or person who can initiate and introduce you into the secret of this lovemaking thing.
Okay.
This is the idea of the honeymoon. And then you become a lover, and as a lover, you have a very clear value. That means, okay, are we having sex because we want to create offspring? Are we having sex because it's fun and we want to play? Are we having sex because it's healthy? Or are we having sex because it becomes a spiritual journey? And this is part of the package of the value becoming lover. And then you just go on a journey together, and you just, whatever this journey is or this project is, whatever you do. And this the fifth level of this relationship thing, when you have your own values and you go with somebody on the lover realm, you choose a project. Children, family,
exploration,
business, exploration, holiday, you know, whatever you want to do, whatever your project is, but you do it consciously. And when you just drop out of the lover thing and you stop being lovers, you just ex-lovers.
Yeah, and exactly, it's not that triggering. It's not like a heartbreak in that way, because you're not broken.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have a outcome target. Like today most people, including me, would have an outcome target, like the commitment part. Like, this is gonna be, I can't even tell you how far stretch we're gonna be together. We're gonna be together, and that's like some kind of outcome you want to control. That's where you get the heartbreak and betrayal too, because you're not into this lover mode, I guess. You're more in your head, like, this is how it should be.
Yeah, the point is, if somebody has a hidden agenda, and you know, and then you go in a telepathic agreement because you make step one, and that is for the other person confirmation that the telepathic agreement is confirmed, and that means something that you never have said yes to or agreed upon, then you're in trouble. This has nothing to do with relationship. It's just assumption-based relating.
That
doesn't go anywhere. This is where there's suffering.
Dangerous.
It's dangerous. So that means when you become a lover with somebody, you know, just check in with your values. Do you really want to go on that journey with that person as a lover, or are you still playing shopping zone?
Or are you dependent? Like, are you gonna, if you get like involved in each other, is this your parts that are dependent of something that's gonna pull you together? Like, and that is not exploration, that is not so much fun in the end. It is more, you become addicted to each other. So that is also kind of a part.
Yeah,
like
when you play the attachment style relationship, it's just like this, you know, that's this fourth level. It's just like, if you hang out in the fourth level, it's just like it doesn't go anywhere. But in the fifth level, if you choose a dynamic, and I have a nice video of that. I'm happy to show you, or I can put that in here in this link. When you're on the fifth level, you create any kind of direction where you want to go together, and you have an agreement about that, and you just say, okay, let's go on that journey together, and we do that for the sake of growth, whatever that is. But where I want to go back is when you, as a brother, sister, you know, or call it friends in a way, and you just choose to become a lover, and you just at one point choose not to be lovers anymore and you become ex-lovers, that's the thing, you can't go back to brother-sisters.
You can't?
You cannot. You can't. You cannot go back to brother-sister because the intercourse part makes a shift in the dynamic of spiritual dynamics and relating energetically. You just get into the system of somebody else physically, energetically. You just, the specifically on this lover path as the tantric merging into oneness. If it's not reproduction part, you're melting into oneness. And this melting into oneness changes something.
Yes, it does.
It does, undeniable.
Okay, so what is an ex-lover compared to sister-brother then?
Well, an ex-lover you had somebody you had sex with, and with a brother and sister you don't had sex with and you don't have sex with.
Unless
you choose to become a lover.
If you don't choose to become a lover.
Yeah, and you do that consciously.
So what's the difference then? Like, if that's my ex-lover, there's my brothers and sisters. Can't we all play together then?
Yeah, of course you can play together.
It's just a name.
It's just a name. This is the way how you play, and you acknowledge the dynamics and the structure. So I had a lover, just like a story, to give you an example, because I have not checked in clear enough where she was with. Yeah, and I thought she's clear enough. We had some conversations and we said, okay, let's go on the journey becoming lovers. And we did, and then, after a few weeks, all that stuff was boiling up in her. She just got jealous, and then she was knowing what I was doing for a living, my work and sex education. And then I went on a trip to Brazil to a festival, Sexability Festival. Hear that from Lorenzo in Sweden, in Ängsbacka. And she freaked out. And I said, this is not your business. I just asked you to come with me. You cannot afford it. I pay you the flight. But then you had a son and you just made this decision differently, so you didn't come. And don't project your shit on me. You can feel sad and scared. I can be with you, but don't tell me what to do and what not to do, because, I'm not 15. I've lived my life, and I just went to Brazil. And there was another woman I engaged with, and I said to her, I will play. I play with people.
And she knew this from the beginning.
She knew this from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't have intercourse with anybody. And this is the value that I have. I'm not committed to you. I'm committed to myself and doing it, as I explained that. So I'd go, there's a woman it just clicked. It's just like, whoa, this is just amazing. It's magic. It's paradise. Was, February or something in Europe, was cold. And then all of a sudden you go to Brazil. It's in the middle, it's summer. The weather is just like, everything is lush and green and juicy. And I'm hanging out in a bioreservoir, in an eco village at the festival. And this woman and I, it just clicked in a way.
Yeah.
And we start kind of, we just meet and have conversations, and then festival is over, and I was knowing I hang out another few weeks there, and we were starting to play. And I just made that really clear to my partner. So we had Zoom calls, and I said, I'm playing, but I don't have sex. And she was just like, got ballistic, just like freaked out. And she didn't want me to play, and just like, then what am I doing? I'm sitting here in the corner, even if I'm having a good connection with somebody else, and pretend that I don't have a relationship with somebody else, but I'm committed to my values, not having sex with that woman. Why the fuck would I do that? This is just stupid and ridiculous.
And you had agreed on them from the first beginning, so it's like you are on the same page in the beginning, but then afterwards...
On the same page. So this woman and we start playing. She freaks out and she said, I can't handle it, I need to separate. And I said, fair enough, that's a decision. I'm not attached. I love you, and what we had was beautiful, so thank you, and that's what it is. I'm a grown up, I can deal with that. So I was in this connection there with that woman, and I have chosen not to have sex with her either. So I just said, okay, I just want to finish my time here. I enjoy every moment, and we go deep, or I go deep when I play, but I just don't have intercourse. Just so you can be that close, but you don't start it, but you just play in that realm, and you play with energies in a way. Time finishes, I go back, start meeting this partner, this ex-partner again, and we have conversations, and now we're in proximity, we communicate, and stuff is nice, and we communicate, and we are clear we're ex-lovers. And at one point we just choose to, okay, let's have another lover thing, because it was not compromised, the lover thing. So I didn't have crisscrossed energies in a way. And then we recognize, okay, my values are different. I cannot do that. I say, thank you, I love you, and I need to move on. And she said, thank you, I love you, and I move on. And we are really kind of friends today.
In good terms.
In good terms, ex-lovers, and in a very good way. So we clean that stuff up without compromising having sex with somebody else. But now this woman I had this connection with, I was communicating with her. And I said, just okay, so she was planning to come to Europe. And I say, okay, let's do it. And I would kind of consider becoming lovers with you. And then she had kind of 1,000 other stories with other guys in between, and fucked around here and fucked around there. And just this is breaking my values. I don't want that in my life.
No.
And then on one point I said, I'm not going on that journey with you as a lover. I decided not to. And she then freaked out, because the story that we had when we were in Brazil, she said, no, we were lovers already. And I said, no, we were not lovers. We have played. We were still in the brother-sister realm, because we had not sex, we had not intercourse, we had not exchange of bodily fluids. What is my value? I stick to my value. I declare them.
Okay.
They are solid. And she said, completely freaked out, that I have denial. I was in denial that I was in a lover relationship with her. And because I have denied being in a lover relationship with her, she will start gossiping about me everywhere.
Okay, so that is just how the child gets into play and projects.
Right. So that's the reason why I'm saying that, it's playing in high...
It's high stakes.
High stakes. So you have to be in full integrity. You have to be in alignment with everything that you do and that you say.
Yeah.
You have to come into really truth. And, I can look in both women's faces and say, just I've not compromised, that we have not been lovers. And I'm very clear. And this is the value I've communicated from the beginning on. And this is how I live my life. And you either take that in as a value and you want to relate with that, or you don't. And if you don't, then we don't become lovers. End of story.
Yeah. And this is not to be mixed up with, I suppose, with people who haven't done their work, who are maybe I have been, or still working on it, avoidant, or you are just without values, you betray partners by changing partners. So it's not about being a player or adding on fuel to your avoidant part, where you commit and then you're oh, I have my balls and I have my integrity, and now I want to switch, and now I want to switch here. So I think there is something we need to highlight, because these attachment styles and ways of being are not in the, is it fifth pillar?
This is the fifth pillar,
Yeah, so isn't that pretty important to recognize in yourself that you cannot fuck around just because you were chasing lust or chasing pussy or having a problem with committing. You can't say you're in pillar 5 and no, this is my thing. That's that is the narcissistic, egoistic, might be spiritual person too. So that is something to remember.
Yeah, you have to walk your talk.
Yeah.
You have to be a role model of your own values. You cannot say one thing in the workshop and then do something else completely in your private life.
And empathy, compassion, and love.
Yeah.
That's well needed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just a douche.
then you're completely douche.
Right.
So I mean, the thing is, when I said in the beginning, I'm unapologetic me in this fifth step, or when you're there, it's just like you are unapologetic you, because you walk your talk, you have your value in place, and if somebody is confronting you, it's just like, okay, bring it on, let's have this conversation, because I know what I'm talking about. And this is what makes the difference. And there's a next step, a sixth step out of that.
Let's
and
go.
The sixth step is that out of that value that you have, you create kind of a project, something comes through, whatever the project is, as I said, go traveling, or you just build a house, or you just create an NGO, or whatever you want to do together, or you're just saving orphans in somewhere in the world, you know, whatever the project is based on your values. When you go through, you invest yourself, you invest all, you know, your energies, your body, your emotions, your purpose. You just dive in, and you fail. You just create crashes. You just, or you succeed, whatever you do, but you develop out of that project, in that dynamic, in that relating together, and something is evolving. You create another version out of yourself. And that this next version, this becomes kind of an impeccable path between two people, where they say, well, we have been going through some shit together. Yeah, that was just tough. And yeah, but we were honest with each other. We were sticking to our values. Yeah, just like whatever happens, we can trust each other 100%. I know who you are, you know who I am. Yeah, and out of that, there's even a seventh step coming out of that. And this is where it becomes really magic. This is where you create a community, where you create an environment, where you create a radiant, vibrating magnet to make a change in the world.
Wow, okay, that was a big last seven.
The seventh is where I'm going for.
Everybody should go for that.
This is the essence of this entire thing. Without that, why are we doing that? What we're doing?
Exactly. Why are we doing, and why are we looping what we're doing? Where would you say, like, if we generalize, where would you say people are right now? You want to put a...
I think most of the time, people hanging out in the shopping zone.
Yeah.
Or because they are afraid of this step ahead, the attachment that they copy in their parent relationship, because they can't break out, and the shopping zone is the only free island that they have.
And it's okay because there's so many in there. Like
everybody does that.
Everybody talks about it.
Yeah.
Everybody walks there.
Right, and people drop some little kind of
and
sweets.
And you whine about it. You're like, fuck, it didn't work. Oh, better next time. Better luck next time. Yada yada yada.
Yeah, everybody's kind of, just like poor me and my little victim child, and doing kind of personal stuff, and just like, okay, I've done that, and I know it's hard work, and and at one point you will come out on the other side. You just have to find that place, the fifth step. You have to find that value, impeccable integrity, unapologetic you, from a place of, it doesn't matter what rocks your boat, you hold your ground and you stay there and say, this is just like my way or the highway.
How old were you when this happened to you? When you noticed you were like in this stage 4 and you needed to go through to 5?
45.
45. Like was it like a long journey, or?
The beginning of it was, I was always good with my hands. As a tantric practitioner, I could do a lot of magic with my hands and body work and stuff like that. And I did not recognize and realize how much I was, and then we can go to the pleaser piece, how much I was stuck in being a good boy, being the pleaser, doing the right thing to women. I needed to know every trick and every technique and everything that I can get women where I think they should go, or where they actually wanted me to bring them. Yeah. And I was a master in stuff, in body work and stuff like that. And then I recognized in 2014 that I was completely neglecting myself in that place of I was doing it to get that response, to feel better about myself.
Yeah, validation.
Validation all the way.
Yeah.
And then I recognized the part where I was neglecting myself was the first step in the 3-minute game. The first thing I do for myself. Yeah. That's where I was doing for myself. I got lost in doing something for the other person to get the validation. And that was when I actually recognized, no, I have to come back to do something for myself impeccable. And that was this part of, when you start playing tennis, you need to train 10,000 hours before you actually really professionally play the ball over the net and can beat somebody who's playing tennis for 10,000 hours as well. You can't take the rack and then you do it. So I was a beginner, in 2014, just like, whoa, this is what I'm doing? Yes, this is what I'm doing. And I just have to say, okay, I need to stop that. And I stopped it, and then I developed that value step by step. And it came from that place. And there was my mentor at that time who said, okay, if you want to really dive into that, you have to play this 3-minute game 100 times with 100 different people. And then you will develop that value. And that value is within yourself. Nobody can give that to you. Nobody can take it away from you. Nobody can approve it. You actually come to that place. It's just like you just learn, okay, that's me. And I have to say that. And then in 2014, I slowly so I practiced a lot. And my entire session work changed in only 3-minute game dynamics. Mm-hmm. So whoever came into my practice, I guided them through a step-by-step process into empowerment so that they could make a choice and not coming from an unhealed victim state or something like that. Or if somebody came from an unhealed victim state, I had very, very clear protocols for myself as values, how I engage and how I not engage.
Okay.
So I just start learning through my pleasing behavior as a superpower to read people's neurological cues and where they are emotionally and energetically and physically. And then I developed over that what I call the 4 pillars of relating. And the first pillar of that relating is just like we have to, when we are in action for ourselves, go in a radical self-responsibility ownership that I'm doing it for myself. I need to put myself first. And then I learn to communicate. And then the last step is love and care for others. Because the empathy and compassion in love and care for others comes with self-love and self-care in the first place.
You can't have that if you don't have the first.
No. So it's a developmental structure.
So that is a practice that you teach.
Yeah.
You have a link.
Oh, I have plenty of links.
We need links.
I have plenty of links.
This is interesting because this is happening everywhere. It's not just like a tantric scene. I had it too when I realized that, fuck, I'm doing this for just to get validation, to confirm that I am allowed to be alive, doing something to get that back. It was like immediate handbrake for me, and I could see all around like, oh shit, people are doing it everywhere and they can't see it, but I can't tell them. They just need to figure it out. But I sat there, I'm like, oof, I feel kind of stupid. It is kind of manipulation because you give in order to get.
Yeah.
But I haven't taken those pillars. I just pulled the brakes, and I thought I will not do this. Of course, I have some clients still, but I will not go out in the way I've done before until it clicks that I understand I'm not doing this in order to get anything. But I still haven't had that not epiphany, but revelation or a click that says, okay, now you got it, and now you're not doing it for the sake of being validated. And I noticed that if you do it or if I did it to get validation, it drained me. It just drained me all the time.
Well, I mean, this kind of pleaser syndrome it just guides into burnout. It's just obviously. You know, the interesting thing is what you said, when you see it somewhere and you can kind of sniff it and smell it and taste it and sense it, there's a vibration to it, and you somehow just like, it's just disgusting. And you just, but if you can't express it, if you don't have a language to it, why it is disgusting. And it's not to make it wrong, but it's kind of, you know, there is this Buckminster Fuller quote I just love to say, you can't fix a broken system by repairing it. You just need to create a new one that makes the old one obsolete. And that's the one, you need to create that set of values by experiencing something differently. And when you create that set of values by experiencing something differently, you recognize you don't need this old crutches anymore, but they were good, you just had them and you have used them, but now you have a new set that is just like, well, why would I go back to I stick to my values in here. And then the 3-minute game and the system and everything is around that comes from an internal, you know, as if you plant a seed that grows into a tree that is just like, this is solid, this is really impeccable. And you know, there's a rewiring happening in your nervous system, in your emotional capacity and acuity, and your mind is adapting to that, and you create a language that you can speak in the present moment based on that values. And you know, and this is why I said, just like, no, I'm unapologetic me. This is just like, you get me raw. Yeah. And this is what the world needs. Just like, nobody wants to have this little sissies who just like trying to make it right, to be loved, and then you have all these victims hanging out together. Yeah, all poor me. Yeah, you're poor me too. Yeah. Let's all be poor me together and point our finger to somebody else who we think is dangerous. It's like, no, this is the old thing. This is the broken system, the crutch that I'm not willing to engage anymore.
And that is triggering.
And this is
super triggering.
Super triggering.
And it's also, I think it's very important how you are raw. Like, you can be raw in a very not good way. Like, you can be clumsy raw, or you can be decisive raw, like with the compassion, with the love, with everything included. You are this like truthful raw. Or you can be very clumsy. There's a lot of talk about that today. Like, people are being radically truthful or raw, but it looks more like they, you know, you have the pendulum, you are here, and then the pendulum swings right over there, and then you become this unapologetical raw dude or girl. And
yeah, you know, the essence of that is empathy and compassion. Included in that is the set of values like integrity, generosity, your capability of surrender and feeling grateful for life in total. But in this rawness, and even though, no, I'm dangerous in a way, but I am pleasant. I'm not violent. Violent is the first step, the jerk, you know, the kind of bully.
Yeah, the bully.
But this is not where you go. You just become a role model.
Yeah.
Not because you actually want to become a role model, because you have a frequency and a resonance that is unapologetic you, where you actually take ownership. You claim your space, and in the engagement, in the moment with the person you relate with, you just like 100% penetrative present, and you don't let bullshit go away.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that you are a douche or a bully. I think some people might be apologetically raw. That's where it can go south. You know, you're raw, but it comes out from fear, and you almost look like you're saying I'm sorry at the same time as you are, you know, being in this radical raw state. But I guess it's just practice, you know?
Yeah, I think when I say unapologetic me, the other side of that is just like, yeah, I'm sorry that I'm intimidating you by speaking my truth and expressing what I really feel and what I think and what my values are, and I'm just like it's like, no, this is not sexy, this is not
It is not
masculine.
safe.
It's not safe. It's not safe. Yes.
That exactly, I was looking for that. It's not safe in that way.
Yeah.
That's what I'm noticing.
Yeah.
But I think it's the human journey.
Yeah.
You go through that place too, and you become, whatever you become, the safe masculine.
Yeah, and that means in the safe masculine,
or feminine,
or feminine, but you know what you get. This is the package that you get. There is no hidden door. There's no hidden agenda or anything else beyond that. It's just like, no, that's the value. That's what you get.
It's clear.
It's clear.
That's cool. It's been a lot to take in, as always, when I talk to you. There's so much coming up because we're all going through it in different ways. But you are doing these one-on-one sessions, and you have these couple sessions, which are very important. And where are you located?
I'm at the moment in outside of Stockholm in Gustavsberg. So I invite people into my house, my studio, and everybody's welcome to come here. And there's an option what I normally do if people just want to get to know me first. There's a 15 minutes or half an hour free Zoom call. So there's a link coming. Where you can just like pick a day and time that serves you best and then jump on Zoom, and then we can have a conversation before you come here into the lion's cave.
That's awesome. And we can find you on Facebook?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, but I have a webpage that calls somaticconsent.com.
Yeah, I'll put the links in the description so they will find you. And will you be at the retreat in Sicily?
Yes, so the de-armoring training is coming up in Sicily.
Yeah, we're going to have a total session about de-armoring, because we need to talk about de-armoring.
Yeah.
And I signed up for it.
Oh, cool. Good. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to go there because we were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's right on time to open up.
Yeah. Yeah, this de-armoring training is a game changer. It comes up 1st of June in Sicily, yes.
So that's coming up as well. So please check it out, and we'll do a podcast session about it. We have so many sessions to record.
Perfect.
And this has been a perfect setting. All right. Thank you, viewers and listeners. And thank you, Matt Schwenteck.
Right.
Schwenteck.
Yeah.
Matthias Schwenteck or Matt.
Yeah. Well,
Both
Matt,
works.
But Matthias, I take this minute and give you a breakdown of my name.
Oh, perfect.
Matthias comes from Hebrew, even though my parents were absolutely atheist and I didn't know. And that this name Matthias in Hebrew has the meaning from the name Matthias, what means gift of God.
Wow.
This is my first name. The second name is Schwenteck, from the Polish, when Germany was, before the First World War, still Germany up there. And then, anyway, there were kind of Polish ancestry or, Ostpreußen German ancestry. And the name Schwenteck in there has a meaning as well. The name Schwent means sacred in Polish. And the ending tech means man. Yeah.
Sacred man.
And it means sacred man. So my whole name, Matthias Schwenteck, means sacred man, gift of God.
Oh my God, that's something to hold up to.
So it's time that I just live up to my truth and saying, okay, what I'm doing with this tantric work, my addiction to horniness, it's just like, no, it's a spiritual pathway, and I claim, I declare, I own it.
That's also an episode we need to talk about, the addiction parts. About horniness, about sexualizing, about the pussy, about the dick, and about everything, all kinds of addictions you might have, fantasies, ages, everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, on a
and Tommy, by the way, Tommy's, I googled it. It's from Tommy gun. It was used in some kind of war, and I think it's a shortening from Thomas.
Yeah.
Haven't checked up Thomas yet. That's how far I got.
What's
Christian is my second name.
Okay.
I asked my mom, why did you choose Tommy? She's like, we wanted you to sound Swedish, kind of. I'm like, okay, that's good.